Alright guys, thanks for checking in to Stormtopia.com and the Stormtopia.com Facebook page. We're going to have our daily weather update right now. Current national radar imagery is showing a big mess of a storm right now in the eastern United States. We had severe weather rip through the southeast U.S., including Yazoo, Mississippi, where we had an EF2 tornado, very damaging. However, we had no injuries reported. Again, the same area that got hit by an EF4 last spring, so not a great place to live. Well, we have rain spreading up through the Appalachians into the northeast right now. We're going to talk about what's going to go on with that in this video for a little while, and then we're going to get to some of the more interesting matters that we are covering. Let's take a look at the model for by the time we make our way out into this evening. We got heavy rain up through the Appalachians, more storms making their way on through Georgia. Okay, trough is starting to get negatively tilted by tomorrow morning, and by tomorrow morning, speaking of tomorrow morning, precipitation is all the way about State College. Heavy rain is moving through the Appalachians. We've got some mixing that's occurring on the back side of the storm by late morning for the western Appalachians. By the afternoon, it kind of just sweeps through parts of the northeast, as you can see here on the NAM. Oops, I did not position that right. Right, here we go. You can see here on the NAM that by the time we make our way out into late Wednesday afternoon into late Wednesday evening, we're talking about this precipitation making its way on through the northeast. By Thursday, we're done. It's cold with a negatively tilted trough from the Midwest back into the northeast. Into the weekend, we've got Friday and Saturday expanding cold air across the mid-Atlantic, okay? Expanding warm air, but not expanding quite enough here across the southern United States. Now, into the longer range, we're going to start to see a pretty cold pattern developing here out into the plains east to the mid-Atlantic. And this is when things get interesting, because of course you've probably heard of the hype, and I don't know if you're watching this from the AccuWeather forums or whatever, but you've probably heard a lot of hype about this storm coming on December 5th through 6th, and I'm going to try to give you the best analysis I can, but there's still a lot to be determined, and you're going to see that in this video. Okay, here's the latest computer model run of the GFS. Shows a low pressure center coming off Cape Hatteras. Looks really good in the beginning stages. Bombs offshore, but it is offshore, and only the Carolinas end up getting some snow. Why? Because we have such a cold air mass. Those isobars are coming straight out of, not even, sometimes we say a cold Canadian air mass. This is a cold Russian air mass. That's how cold it is. Okay, it can get to minus 90 in Russia. So there's really cold air, really blocking going on, and the storm goes offshore. European model right now has the same pattern, just brings it offshore because there's just too much cold air. Now, I have a number of problems with this solution. Let's take a look at why I have these problems. Okay, here's why. The model runs for a couple days had a storm. I mean, I know not every model run, but let's just bear with me here. They had a storm up into the mid-Atlantic, right? Major snow, blah blah blah. Then they all of a sudden make the northeast void of snow, brings the snow to the Carolinas. Well, what do we know? We know that this is so similar to the pattern that we saw last year. We saw the models go out on the long-range GFS. There was snow. Everyone got excited. The long-range models no longer showed it. Then they showed it, and then it happened, and there was 1 to 2 feet of snow up and down the northeast coast. Okay? I'm not saying that this storm is going to verify just because that's the trend I see on the models. But that's something so important that you have to consider when you look back into history, especially history in these models that's only a year old, okay? Here's the other thing. The models this year and last year were showing the storms coming offshore because they thought, oh, it would just be too cold. What is the one model that really didn't show this very often? The European ensemble. And now, the Euro ensemble, let's take a look at the color scale here. 520s to 540s heights, okay, at 500 millibars, okay, that's in the blue. You take a look at the map here, not as cold, not as much blocking. It's coming out of Canada, but it's not quite as cold on the Euro ensemble, which is why, if it's not quite as cold, then it would have a better chance of coming up into the mid-Atlantic. So I think the Euro ensemble doing its thing once again with the storm. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying we will or won't see a storm. It's just saying that that's what I know and that's what I'm putting out here. So that's my 2 cents on this whole storm. I hope you enjoyed this forecast video. Please spread the word about our website and have a great day.